The flood, the world's biggest natural killer. A destroyer of all it touches. Water gives us life, but it can also be deadly. The flood, a terrifying power on our raging planet. The Guadalupe River, Texas, just after a wall of water smashed down the valley.
How many are there of you? There's about 40. How many? 40 in the box.
The river suddenly rose 22 feet after a thunderstorm, and a busload of school children was caught in a flash flood. Tragically, 10 of the children were lost.
Michelle, were you stuck in a tree?
Yeah.
How long were you in there, sweetheart?
For about an hour.
About an hour? What was going through your mind right there?
I'm scared, terrified because I can't swim.
We prayed a lot and sang, just talked.
There are two main kinds of flood. Flash floods are sudden, unexpected torrents. They tear down rivers and smash into pieces anything they encounter. Flash floods are catastrophic and deadly. The other type are the big, slow floods that rise over a long period of time. There's usually plenty of warning. As more and more rain falls, the water rises and floods gradually engulf the land. These big, slow floods happen in every country in the world. Eventually, rivers break through their banks and levees. Roads are swamped, crops are ruined, commerce comes to a halt. In America, every year water kills on average 138 people, most in flash floods. This one hit near Las Vegas in 1990. It caught Murray Brown's Jeep and swept it downstream, with him trapped inside. For the rescue workers, it was a race against time. And it was a race they seemed to be losing. It wasn't just Murray Brown's life that was at risk, but the lives of the rescue workers themselves. Astonishingly, even after 20 minutes trapped underwater, Murray Brown managed to survive. One life was pulled back from nature's violent grip. Most are not so lucky. The danger from flash floods comes from their suddenness and the lack of warning. Athens, Greece, January 12, 1997. In one evening, 2 inches of rain fell in 3 hours. Hundreds of homes, businesses, and shops were flooded. Central Athens was without power for several hours. An underpass flooded, totally covering a car. The diver went down to check for the driver. By next morning, they had pumped the underpass dry. Mercifully, there was nobody in the car. The driver had escaped in time. But in Corinth, 50 miles west, the result was more sudden and more devastating: a flash flood. In these floods, 3 people died. The pattern is always the same: sudden heavy rain that quickly runs off the land and flows into narrow channels. This is South Africa on Christmas Day, 1995. Torrential rains had filled 2 rivers to their bursting point. The flood struck just 20 minutes later. More than 700 homes were washed away. The helicopters called in to evacuate those trapped were only able to carry out corpses. That Christmas afternoon, more than 130 people were drowned. Nearby, a minibus was washed off a bridge, taking 15 more people. Another 4 were lost when their car was swept off a road. 1996 had arrived with tragedy. Another year of floods had begun. On Wednesday, the 8th of August, 1996, it was Spain's turn. A tourist recorded the start of the flood through the window of his caravan. Minutes later, a wall of water and mud, some said it was 12 feet high, smashed down onto the campsite. The victims were in shock, completely dazed by the force of what had hit them. The mud swamped cars and trailers, dragging them a mile down the hill.